As early as 1927, black residents attempted to use the beaches at Fort Lauderdale, but were turned away due to the color of their skin. Later, black residents in Broward were confined to the beaches at what would later become the Galt Ocean Mile in the 1940s, but were moved away once more when real estate developers began developing the area in the 1950s.
And there are lots of things to do at a beach, especially a beach like Fort Lauderdale Beach.
May 17th, 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court decided the case of Brown v. Board of Education, declaring segregation in public schools as unconstitutional. On Saturday, June 5, 1954, Dr. Von D. Mizell led a delegation of black residents appearing before the Broward County Commission to protest the lack of beach access for black people. 3 months later, on September 21, 1954, Broward County purchased the Klein Beach Tract south of the Port Everglades Inlet in Dania, later known as Dania Beach. A section of Dania Beach would be carved out for black residents in Broward County. This section would be called the Colored Beach, or some would say the Negro Beach, or the Black Beach. This was for the use of black people to have beach access after years of lobbying the county for a beach for black residents. The purchase price was $1.6 million for a mile-long beach. In the early years, the beach could be reached by ferry. Broward County, like the rest of the South, remained slow in desegregating its beaches. Even after a federal appeals court ruled in the case of City of St. Petersburg v. Alsop on December 19, 1956. That St. Petersburg could not operate separate beaches, but Broward's beaches remained off limits to black residents except for the colored section of Dania Beach.
Now, we were not permitted to go out here to the beaches we attend today. We had to either get in cars or trucks or whatnot and go north of here. It was almost up to Pompano, but there was a space up there which we could go up and go out to the beach in that area.
Now, my family used to go to the beach a lot, and a lot of families. Sundays, there were a lot of families at the beach, and that was behind Gulf Ocean Mile.
Yeah, at that time they did have a particular section set off for the blacks, as they call it. I think that was located where the Gulf Ocean Mile, I think, used to be. You know, in that area there, I think that's where he used to go.
And as the city group, they moved us all the way up from northern portion of Las Olas to Gulf Ocean Mile. I think Gulf Ocean Mile was the last place I remember us going to the beach. And eventually, they designated South Beach and provided a ferry for us to go.
Oh, they had to use a ferry. I don't know if you remember, but we rode the ferry and went around the Port Everglades to get to the beach, and we had to be off there from over there at a certain time because the ferry wouldn't be running. And there were no roads to go over there or anything.
There's a lot of people waiting to get on this one boat to go over, and then you have to wait for the boat to come back and bring you. And he thought that was unfair, so he took to court, and of course they drug their feet about it, saying they would build a road.
The Black Beach was wonderful. Like I said, I didn't know that it was something that wasn't our choice to do. And I think we really loved that beach. As I mentioned, the big, beautiful Australian pines, and loving that beach and the time we spent there. And whenever we had family or visitors from out of town, we'd take them on the boat, go to the beach, and it was wonderful.
So when, after a few years in a row was not built, we still paddling over there on a boat, he decided we'd have a wade-in.
On Sunday, July 4th, 1961, Eula Mae Johnson and Dr. Von D. Mizell led the first of several wade-ins at the Fort Lauderdale beach.
Like the Freedom Riders, also came to Florida. This particular assault came on the beaches of Fort Lauderdale. About 200 local Negroes participated in the swim-in. While some whites did leave the area, for the most part, little attention was paid to the visitors. Police standing by were not needed. Desegregation of South Florida's beaches came without incident or violence, and WCKT News cameras were there to record the event.
2 years later, a federal judge decided a suit in Johnson's favor, ruling that black people could swim where they pleased along Broward's beaches. In 1965, the state road department completed the Dania Beach Boulevard Bridge to the beach. In 1970, the state of Florida opened John U. Lloyd State Park at the site.
He got in the back of his car and he drove down Los Olas, and he parked at the beach, because at that time you could park right there on the sand. And he drove right up on the sand and parked, and he said, "Get out and get in the water." And of course, we looked at each other, "Get in the water? This is the white people beach." You gotta get in the water. He said, "Get in the water." So all four of us walked over and waded in the water. As we got in, the white beach goers got out.
I remember very vividly, Mrs. Eula Johnson was one of the leaders of the boycott at the time.
Whenever I went to the beach one 4th of July, I said to Dr. Von D. Mizell and myself and Miss I.N. Harley, they said to me, I said, how is we are going to celebrate the 4th of July? Which was I believe it was on a Sunday that day. I said, we're going to the municipal beach and we're going to swim there.
She was determined that we should be able to go out to Fort Lauderdale Beach as could anybody else. So she would take a group of youngsters and whoever wished to accompany her and go out there and have a wade in. And of course, that was just the beginning.
Dr. Mizell and so many others then felt they could do something about it. You know, they didn't want to just sit back and not do anything about it. So the fact that, and I just learned this from Lorraine Mizell as she was talking, that, you know, he was just driving along and told them, get out of the car. Now, so that was the initial start of the wait-ins.
We looked up and we saw every police in the city of Fort Lauderdale or Broward County. We looked up and we saw poodles of people. We saw the ambulance come up. We saw everything that was detrimental that they thought, I guess they thought they would frighten us away.
That inspired Eula Johnson to actually say, this is a thing, you know, this is going to work. And she actually coordinated wade-ins, you know, and they went into the water and got a lot of attention.
Fast forward to 2016, John U. Lloyd State Park would have a name change, Von D. Mizell and Eula Johnson State Park, after the then governor at the time, Rick Scott, signed a bill in April of that year.
My grandparents and my family have been here. I'm the 5th generation of a Broward County, Fort Lauderdale native. And before desegregation, it was terrible what was going on down there. Folks were only allowed to go to the beach one day out of the year, and where they were allowed to wade in, so to speak. And you know, people had to be home before dark, and the different issues with colored water fountains, things that I had no idea of when I was that young, that anything like that could ever have taken place, because I grew up a little bit older. Currently, Fort Lauderdale Beach is being handed over to some developers so that they can transform our iconic desegregation built and intended purpose basketball courts to change them over to pickleball courts. The developers have offered to pay the city $1 million to build basketball courts someplace else. We don't want the basketball courts someplace else. And this is a very dangerous thing when you elect people that aren't from your city to run your city. We've gotten together with a few groups, Beach Ballers, Fort Lauderdale. We have a petition signed for over 12,000 people so far, and the city isn't even paying any attention to us. It's extremely rude of them to tell us that they're going to be building them someplace else when they know they can't build them anyplace else. They can't get the state or federal permits. They know that once it's gone, it won't come back, and it'll be an, oh well, oops, sorry we missed it, just like they did with Snyder Park. Our public lands are being handed over to developers without the input of the city whatsoever.
There's a lot of things that make this court special. I mean, it goes back all the way back to the 1960s. And that was when Fort Lauderdale Beach was segregated.
People from all over the world, they come out here. We just come out here to hoop. And the most beautiful thing is it's like a universal language. We all just connect.
One of the main things was how easily it was to meet people and become friends, because we all had a common interest.
We might not speak the same language, but we all know how to hoop. And I just feel that right there in itself is just amazing.
And finally, the civil rights movement had created the right conditions, got behind the people. The city finally gave in, and they created these courts as I want to say, a symbol of that time period to give back to the people who they wronged.
What makes this court special too is the settings that we're at. There's nowhere else that has the beach literally right there. You have the calisthenics area where you get your workout in, get your training in basketball, and then you relax and you go into the water, go into that ocean.
There have been so many people through the years, through the 60s, 70s, 80s, that have come out here and played. Their children have played out here, and now it's the grandchildren are out here playing. So to do anything to remove these courts, it's basically erasing the history.
Well, lately right now, we're seeing what the commissioners are doing, and I feel like the commissioners have been falsely representing the community. They have been ignorant to of what we're trying to reach out to them and say, and which is to save this beach area and save these basketball courts, because it really means a lot to us.
We're looking for your support. We're looking for anything that you could do to come and help us out. Whether it be moral, calling and taking action, it's all good.
The history of black beaches in Broward County is a story of joy, resilience, and also revolving. With new present-day history happening at Fort Lauderdale Beach and Von D. Mizell Eula Johnson State Park, what history will be made for the next generation after us? What ways will we leave the beaches for them to enjoy? What ways will we ensure the environment is safe with the plans in store for our beaches? Only time will tell. It's on us as a whole to come together for transformative solutions for our tomorrow and your tomorrow.